Okay, we are back again. Moms Coaching Moms. I'm Rochelle and this is Christine. And we are continuing to untangle the lies that we believe as moms. So we have done a few weeks now. The first one we did was like, just wait until your kid. And we talked about some of those lies that we believe. And then we asked, are you a bad mom? And we had some fun with surrounding like the movies, Bad Moms. And then last week we talked about what if I'm a Pinterest mom and what if I'm not a Pinterest mom. And so this week, which ends off November for us, and we are untangling the lie that if it is to be, it's up to me. And I heard that so much, not just as a mom, like in so many different areas of life. If it is to be, it's up to me. And it sounds really good. It sounds like a really good thing. But again, if you've been following along with our videos, you will know probably what we're going to say right away is when we make something good, the opposite is also true. So if it is good, that if it is to be, it's up to me, if it's all on me, if it's all up to me, if that's good, then what happens when I can't do it all? And that is a huge space that we can really get stuck in as moms, because we just cannot we cannot do it all the time, you know? I mean, honestly, I am amazed by single moms all the time because I'm like, wow, it's incredible the amount that it is mostly on them. However, single moms need help too. All moms need help. Moms that have a partner, they need help too. Like all moms need help. We do this. But when we have this saying, if it is to be, it's up to me, we can get stuck in what we're calling the pride. We can get stuck in pride of that, the ego, it's like a badge of honor that like, oh yeah, like I can do all this. I can, raise the kids and I can have a job and I can make the cakes and I can plan the parties and I can, and none of that is good or bad. It just is. Again, that goes to like last week when we were talking about being that Pinterest mom. If you love being the Pinterest mom and you love making cakes and painting stuff and doing it, great. And if you don't love it, awesome. If you'd rather pay someone to do it, that's great too. So sometimes, and I know that's a bigger conversation with this as well, because it's sort of in society that as moms, we kind of just do nothing. I don't know how many times someone will say, oh, what'd you do today? Oh, nothing. But yet I could probably list off 100 things that I actually did throughout the day. But as moms, we kind of just consider them nothing. And so then we can get stuck in comparison and comparing to, oh, but look what that mom has gone through. Look what she's dealing with. Oh my goodness, but look at that mom. And the reality is that when we do that, we are stuck in pride. And that it can be a dangerous place to be, because what happens is it can send us down into the prime six, which I'm going to share a screen here. And Christine's you're going to go into like one story. We have lots of stories we could talk about, but we don't have time to talk about them. We're going to pick one story and show how being stuck here in pride, how when we're stuck there, it can actually send us down through the prime six, the anger, disgust, fear, sadness, hopeless despair, and shame. But then we're also going to show how you can actually like bounce yourself, bring yourself out of that and bring yourself up into those expanding emotions, into the trust, optimism, acceptance, understanding, love, joy, and peace by going into courage. So I guess the start is, what's the story? What is your story that you would like to share?
Well, I know that if you've been following along, our youngest has a multi-diagnosed, highly complex life, and it started pretty much since birth for her. And so, when she started school, I was always getting called in to the school. She's run away again. She's hiding. She's this, she's that. She's freaking out. And I, quite frankly, I just was angry. Like, you guys deal with her. It's on your turn. Like, what do you want me to do about it? And it sort of came to a head when she was in grade 2, and there was a lot of severe bullying, and she would just run away and hide and whatever. And so uh, we were getting her assessed for a whole bunch of different things. And one of the psychologists at that time said, well, if you're able to bring her home and homeschool her, that's going to be the best bet. You know, she wasn't reading, she was having trouble talking, she couldn't really focus, she was having all sorts of really big issues. And so what happened for me is that I was also homeschooled, and I I didn't want to do it. I said that I would never homeschool my children. I did not want that responsibility. And then here I was. And the thing that I've learned about pride is that you're actually stuck in the judging between good and bad. And and so what happened is, like, I had a lot of anger with this. And so I brought her home, and I was like, fine, you know what? I will homeschool her. Well, here was the thing that happened with that, is that I started doing the same things that were causing her all of these problems at school. And it just was so brutal. And so what happened was is that I was actually really disgusted with myself. And then I started yelling at her, and she was yelling at me, and we were going back and forth with that. And there was a lot of fear that I really didn't understand what was going on with our daughter, and the different diagnoses that we were getting. Then it would explain a small part of what was going on with her, but not really all of it. And so it really was like it was just a shot in the dark all the time. Like, how do I help this kid? And it felt like it was all on me. And my husband was working long hours to make sure that we could afford all the things that we were doing. And so it felt like it was all on me. And I kept telling myself it was all on me. And other people were saying, like, oh, like, you're doing such an amazing job. And I was just floundering with it. And following the fear was just this sadness. My child was struggling so much, I was struggling so much. And we just, she still wasn't reading. And she's then, by that time, she's in grade 4, almost coming into grade 5. And her behaviors and the things that she was doing, like, there was so much from, like, textures would, of things would make her cry. Things on her skin would make her cry. She couldn't handle light, she couldn't handle sounds. She just sort of became like this shell. And so there's so much hopeless despair in there as we continue to search for answers. And honestly, followed by shame, like, just that I had completely and utterly failed this child, and that I couldn't even figure it out for being at home. And that went on for quite a few years. And we tried different teachers, and we tried different means, and we tried different therapies, and we tried pretty much everything. And even though I didn't understand this scale at the time, something changed when I had the courage, which then was willing to risk it all. When I finally just went to a hospital and said, I'm not leaving until someone helps me here.
Mm-hmm.
I need help. There is something very, very, very wrong, and I don't know what it is. And then I did the same. Our other daughter was graduating out of school, and I reached out there, and within a year, we had a full range of diagnoses for her. We had all of a sudden, like, this whole special needs team that had formed. And what happened then is that we were finally able to start saying to our daughter, okay, we see you. And the trust was starting to form. But there became this, and how we reach them is with joy, glad to be together in strength and weakness. And all of a sudden, it was like she was validated that there is something, it was totally not in her control. And these diagnoses for her, on top of then all the trauma that had gone on because we really didn't know. It was very complex, and she honestly has 9 different, diagnoses. We've been through so much, so
Yeah.
much in her
Yeah.
life, and
Well, and
and so
that's the joy of being glad to
absolutely,
be together in strength and weakness. And
yeah,
when you
exactly,
finally could get some of those answers, then, and like to have the courage to go and be like, we need some answers, and have the courage to face that. Cause I remember as well, like you sharing those times, like, okay, I'm going into another meeting. I'm going to hear again, like, okay, I got out of another meeting. Like that takes a lot of courage
yeah,
to sit in there and hear those things. And I mean, I know little pieces of, there's pieces of my story that I can relate to, of sitting in those doctor's offices and in those meetings of going, okay, this is what's going on. But then to be able to have joy with your
yeah,
child and go, okay, we're together here. We're glad to be together in strength and weakness. And then that is such a huge shift.
yeah.
That's where the shift can actually happen.
Exactly. So then another big piece of that was then, again, though, what happened for me is, um, quite honestly, and now that I truly understand this, and I've been doing all of, these certifications and this training in this, is I learned that you can actually go up that scale still in pride. And
Mhm.
that's what I did. And I didn't know it at the time, but I totally was. I was still judging it between the good and bad. And so I still thought, okay, then I've got this. I'll do this and this, therapies with her and she'll be fine. And I
Mhm.
totally missed that there was this other component for her that was totally breaking her down. And so, 3 years ago, we had a huge health crisis where we were grateful that she lived through it and to give us um, a second chance with her still being here. And so that was when it all shifted. It truly shifted in me, in my husband, that then we sort of let that pride go. And essentially, it broke it. It broke this idea of judging between the good and bad and the right and wrong, and the courage to risk it all. And since we've been doing this work with her, her entire therapy team has seen leaps and bounds in her, that for all the years of things that we've been doing, there is more progress in her mental and emotional growth that we were told she would never get to. And I really want to stress that the change started with me.
Yeah.
And that change was, it's not all up to me.
Right.
It's not all on me. And it never was all on me. And that was actually causing more issues because I wasn't allowing other people in. I wasn't allowing real courage in. I still was trying to do it all on my own. And truthfully, in life, we're not meant to be a single island.
No.
We're not meant to figure it all out on our own. And so the changes that happened, it started with me, but it started with me saying, it's not all on me.
Yeah. I
I
don't know it
don't have all the
all. I
answers.
don't, yeah, exactly.
And so then that's the shift. And as moms, that's the gift that we have now, is that we can actually give this gift of showing courage and what that looks like, because it means that we're willing to risk it. We're
Yeah.
willing to fall flat on our face and be like, oops, let me try that again, as opposed to, well, I've got this, and keeping that. And so the changes now, is everything, totally fine in my daughter's life? No, she struggles daily. And at the same time, she can communicate those struggles. And it was because um, we were willing to go to that dark place and to actually meet her in the joy and weakness and say, okay, we've got you
Yeah.
and we'll figure this out. one way or another, we will find a way to help. And that's what makes the difference. And I think that we all have that in us,
Yeah.
that the difference between the pride and courage. And when I really learned that I could go up that scale in pride, I'm like, yikes, like,
Yeah,
ugh. And it really does feel different when you're doing it in courage.
it
And
does.
it, you can choose that courage 100 times a day. It's not that it's a one-time deal and then you've got
No.
this. And that's the thing that I think that we can constantly be telling ourselves with this, untangling these lies as a mom is a perpetual thing. And it's beautiful, and we've kind of seen that with our moms already as we go through this, that it's a process, it's a
Yeah.
journey. We've been so programmed that so many of us are like, I don't know who I am. Well, this is the joy of that, is that we get to decide,
Yeah.
we get to create, we get to tweak, we get to implement, we whatever it is, we get to start doing that. And then our kids benefit from
Yeah.
that we then can hold that space for them to figure it out for themselves. And yeah, I for me, like that story of the homeschooling journey with Michaela is sort of one of those things that is both tragic and beautiful all at the same time. And was I doing the best that I knew at the time? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could I get better? Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And I know that I think it's Kelly Clarkson that has like the song "Beautifully Broken" or something like that.
Mhm.
Anyways, I actually think of myself and I think of the world in general. Like, we are beautifully broken, and instead of trying to hide that, let it show, because
Yeah.
other people are going to be able to relate to that. And the whole thing, like, yeah, me too, makes it extremely powerful as we untangle this. Like, are we a bad mom? And are we a good mom? And who are we? And to figure out that being a mom is what we are. It's not who we are. And we get
Mhm.
to be what we are when we can operate from who we are.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly it. And that's, it's such a message out there. If it is to be, it's up to me. And, like, and yes, we definitely do have um like responsibility in
Absolutely.
everything. Like that part of it's up to me, yes. The part of it's up to me and I'm all alone and I have to do it alone and I have to go it alone and I have to figure it out all alone,
Yeah,
and that is the lie.
that's right.
Because we were created for connection, we were created for relationships. We need those things, we need other people. And when we just go into like it's all on me, like that is stressful,
It is stressful.
hugely stressful. So then it makes stressful situations even more stressful.
Well, and if you think about it, when you hear someone else saying it's all on me, it actually fuels that disconnection, because
Yeah.
what if we want to help? No,
Yeah.
no, no, I've got this, I've got this. And you see that they're barely standing. You think,
Yeah.
I like, we could do this together. And yeah, if we could totally separate the personal responsibility part from the it's all on me, and nobody understands, nobody can hear me, nobody
Yeah.
understands my circumstances. It's not about understanding the circumstances, actually. And and if we can do that, if we can come alongside someone, because regardless of the circumstances, we can walk this together, that becomes super powerful.
Yeah.
And and I think that we all do it in our own way. We um we surround ourselves with what we think is protecting us, and really
Yeah.
it's just the pride, because we don't want to get hurt. And it's through
Yeah.
the willingness to get hurt, or to not, then that's amazing. And truthfully, it probably will hurt some.
Yeah.
Being
Definitely.
vulnerable isn't easy,
No.
and yet it really does help us take us to where we need to go.
Yeah. Well, and in our Moms Coaching Moms and our NJAM conversations, and that we have something that we call integrating bravery. And that is something that, we talk about each week of how are we going to integrate bravery this week. And I know for, both of us, we have had that time of like going into the courage is integrating bravery,
It is.
because courage is you are risking looking um, bad or good or bad or right or wrong, like you're risking that, because your
Totally.
pride is the
Yes.
distance between it. The courage then is the risking of that. And so when we talk about the integrating bravery, it's like we are integrating the bravery to do those hard things, to risk looking good or bad, to take a step forward, to, and whatever that is in anyone's life. If it is maybe just reaching out and asking for help, maybe it's sending that message to go like, I can't do this right now. I saw a funny meme the other day. It said it's November. It's the time to say no to some things that don't, I don't know how it ended, but basically to serve you. If they don't serve you, if they're not like, really in your life, we can say no. We can use that all year long though. And we can ask for help. And that is something that we really want to, that's what we're creating with Moms Coaching Moms is that community, is the connections of moms coming together to integrate bravery, to have those conversations, to break down all of those stories. This month we're untangling lies. And I mean, we've only done 4 weeks. And I mean, we know there's like so many more lies that we believe as moms. But hopefully through each of the weeks, you have found something that, you can relate to. And then the reason that we did it this way too, is hopefully you can take our stories from each of the weeks and be able to break your own stories down. And one of the ways that we have found that helps us is with an assessment that we've done. We talked a little more about it last week, the Wendy assessment, but finding out our psychological needs, that has really helped us. We have for moms only though, the assessment anyone can do. You can learn all about yourself more. Wednesday nights, we have just for moms, the NJAM Conversations, that we come together as moms from like all over, and we have these conversations and we just learn like, what are some strategies that can help us? When you were talking about being in the pride and then going into the like courage, and like, what are some strategies that can help us? We talk about those on our Wednesday nights. And then we do have like a Slack community where we connect a little more privately with moms. And we want to build those connections. We want to build those times of building each other up.
Yeah.
The world is big enough. There's so much out there. We know as moms, it's not an easy job. It's not an easy life that we choose or didn't maybe even choose, like that chose us. And we just want to be there for that connection. We want to be there to help bring courage to someone else, to bring bravery, to walk alongside and all of that. So,
and coming in the new year, we're going to have our group coaching sessions. That'll be a 5-week series, and we'll be breaking down way more in depth and more personally, and
more strategies. It'll be more practical, a lot more practical than, on these videos, we do talk a lot about stories and on the week, but those group coaching sessions are going to be a bit smaller groups. And they are going to be like, helping each one that comes break down their stories. Like you hear us breaking down our stories. We're going to help moms that come do that. And then also give very practical strategies that you can put in place immediately. So awesome. And we're so excited about those. We've been working on those for a while now, and we're so excited about them. But Wednesday nights, and check out all the links and everything that we have, because we'll always link everything that we're doing and what's going on. So thank you for joining us for this month of Untangling the Lies. And we're going to go into December. We have some really special stuff for that too, that we're really excited about. So anyways,
stay tuned.
Yeah, exactly. We're off again.